Arizona votes.
Well, for years, former Arizona Republican U.S. Senator Jeff Flake has distanced himself from Donald Trump, but he has taken it to the next level lately by not only saying he will vote for Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris, but has also agreed to be utilized by her campaign.
He joins us now on Arizona's Morning News to talk about that. Senator, it's always good to talk with you. I think it was last week we heard you say that you aren't voting for Harris in spite of being a conservative, but because you are a conservative. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, conservatives, if we believe in anything, we believe in the rule of law. That's the kind of primary tenet of our platform. And when you have a former president who loses an election and then tries to overturn that election, that's the antithesis of belief in the rule of law. So that's kind of a threshold issue. But I also would maintain, you look at foreign policy right now, you look at trade policy and some other things, Kamala Harris has probably more conservative policy than Donald Trump does. I'm not arguing across the board that she does, but on the big, important issues, then frankly, she's more conservative than he is.
So beyond not accepting election results, what is your biggest beef with your fellow Republican, Donald Trump? Is this personal? I mean, there was a little bit of name calling going back and forth a few years back.
No, I never could support him long before he called me names. Back when he, promoted the birther theory that Barack Obama wasn't born in the U.S. It's one thing to believe that. That's bad enough. But it's worse if you don't believe it, but you use it because you know some people will. That's what I felt that he did at that time. And then there are plenty of issues as well. A Muslim ban, proposing that's the antithesis of religious freedom. That's not an issue that is conservative for him to promote. And then trade policy. Tariffs can and should be used at times, but to pretend that you can use them to fill the U.S. Treasury somehow and that China pays the tariffs or any government that you impose them on is just not understanding trade policy. And also strong American leadership abroad. I just spent the last 3 years as an ambassador overseas, and U.S. Leadership is important, particularly with this war in Ukraine. It's important to understand that we have very real enemies abroad. We also have indispensable allies. I want a president who understands the difference.
We're talking with former Arizona U.S. Senator Jeff Flake, a Republican who is throwing his support behind Kamala Harris, the Democratic presidential nominee. Some people would argue back, though, when it comes to foreign policy, Donald Trump did get a lot of stuff done in the Middle East and, got a lot of stuff signed. Would you not agree?
Oh, I agree with the Abraham Accords. That was good. He has done some good things. I agree with some of his policy. His policy on the border, there were some things that I disagreed with there, the family separation policy and whatnot. But overall, he had a more effective policy, certainly than Joe Biden has had. There on a lot of domestic policy, I tend to agree more with tax and regulatory policy that Donald Trump and Republicans have put forward. And so I don't argue with my former colleagues or others on those issues. But on the whole, when you have, like I said, a president who doesn't have respect for the voters, who tried to overturn the will of the voters, that's really something that's tough to get behind.
With the MAGA movement here in Arizona disenfranchising so-called McCain Republicans, for a lot of them anyway. In fact, a lot of people changing their voter registration to independent. There is some desire among Republicans to bring back the more moderate Republican Conservative Party. Have you considered running?
No, I haven't. But I do. I'm troubled, like all Republicans in Arizona, that we're not winning. The more that we continue as a party to follow Donald Trump's lead in questioning the validity of elections or challenging free and fair elections, and this kind of smash mouth, kind of hateful rhetoric it turns Arizonans off. I would argue, we've had very conservatives like myself and John McCain and other very conservative Republicans win an office in Arizona, but right now we can't seem to nominate Republicans who can get past the general because candidates are asked, do you believe that Donald Trump really won the last election? And Republicans are afraid to cross the former president on that. So I'm doing this so we can have a future as Republicans. For one thing, I remain a Republican. I remain a conservative Republican. And I'm just saying to those conservative Republicans out there, don't be ashamed to say you're going to vote for a Democrat. We have a grand tradition in the party of Republicans voting for Democrats when need be. Mr. Conservative himself, Barry Goldwater, supported a Democrat in the 1990s because he knew that the Republican wouldn't represent the party well in the long run.
All right, we're
that Democrat was elected, Karen English. She was promptly defeated 2 years later, and so it's you can vote for a Democrat. They're not evil on the other side. It's just kind of a figment of our imagination lately.
All right, thanks so much. That is former Arizona U.S. Senator Jeff Flake.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.